Hello, listeners, and welcome to Sportscast. We are live here today discussing the end of the World Cup. We are speaking the day after the final of the World Cup 2026, and it comes to an end for our World Cup daily segments. So next week onwards, we'll be back to speaking about normal sports again. But for now, Haroon, how are you doing? How do you feel that the World Cup is finally over?
Walaikum salam. I feel like it's a blessing and a curse, man, because although there's no more football, I'm kind of glad because I don't have to keep up with it, and now I can actually just focus on the actual important things in life. But yeah,
True.
how about yourself?
Yeah, I can fully resonate with you. It almost felt like a chore at times.
Yeah.
It was really fun while it lasted. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. I'm glad that my family are not going to be complaining that I'm watching too many sports. Which, to be fair with them, they've got a point. I have been really into the World Cup, but it happens every 4 years, and we're all engrossed into it for a reason. It was a great World Cup, to be fair. But yeah, it'll be good to start speaking about some other sports as well. But how did you find the World Cup final, man?
Probably one of the worst I've seen. Like it was really boring. Spain dominated, and as nice as it is to see Argentina get what they well deserve, you kind of want some fight. You want to see something just to keep it competitive and keep you on your toes. But it wasn't like that the whole game. I mean, Argentina had zero shots on target in the whole game, which is like that's probably arguably one of the worst performances ever from a World Cup side. Like Croatia did better against prime France in 2018. They actually scored a goal. But yeah, I mean, look, it was more like a family thing. I was with the family, we were all just having a nice time, watching Spain dominate Argentina. Like, do you know what? I've yet to see anyone online or in person that I've met since the World Cup yesterday that actually wanted Argentina to win. Everyone wanted Spain to win, it seems like, which is crazy.
Yeah, it did seem like the world versus Argentina for a number of reasons. We got the whole stance on Israel versus Palestine, which is one of the biggest motivators for why people were supporting Spain. But then, in addition to that, you had the controversies of the World Cup in terms of the poor refereeing that was definitely in favor of Argentina. You had the one game versus Egypt, which was probably the worst refereed game of the tournament. But yesterday was pretty bad as well. I mean, I was expecting a good refereeing performance for a World Cup final. But the ref, in my opinion, yes, in yesterday's game, he had another bad game. That was like the 2010 World Cup final as well, where Howard Webb had a stinker. And yesterday as well, I think there were some bad calls from the referee. There was a lot of fouls that could have seen yellow or even red from an Argentina perspective, but he was letting a lot of them slide. I mean, we've kind of seen it this whole World Cup where Argentina have played very, very dirty, and they're the sort of team where if they're your team, you absolutely love them because they've got a massive fight and you know grit and determination. They're real fighters. But if they're not your team, you absolutely hate them. And I think that's why they were such a polarizing team. And I think that's why it was almost like the world versus Argentina yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, coming on to the refereeing, I thought, look, it's just inconsistent. Like even Enzo Fernandez second yellow. To be fair to him, obviously it is a yellow card. He deserves to be sent off, but he's done that challenge, and so has Paredes, and so has so many other Argentina players, so many times this World Cup in previous games, and they never got booked. Maybe they just thought, you know what, we can get away with it. Let me do it. I mean, this referee, thank God, he had some at least half a brain cell to referee like some of these decisions by giving them yellow cards and sending Enzo Fernandez off. But yeah, it's just a staunch reminder of the inconsistency with the refereeing in this World Cup. And I agree with you. Yeah, like Argentina got away with way too. Like Paredes could have got sent off 5 times. Now, generally, when I'm thinking that the commentators not agreeing with me because they're more neutral, but even the commentators were saying like Paredes, I don't know how he's still on the pitch. And after the game, I mean, coming on to what you were saying before, which is the Israel pass, I get that. I think the biggest thing that people didn't like about Argentina though is their behavior. And after the
Yeah.
final whistle, I mean, shocking. Like, it's literally like a wrestling match. What is going on there? Like there was no great. There's
Yeah.
no. There's a quote from McGregor where he was like, "Be humble in victory and gracious in defeat." and Argentina did not do the second one. No chance.
It's
Crazy.
it's funny you just mentioned it because McGregor said that, but he doesn't follow his own words because you see
Yeah,
the way
that's
he takes
true.
losses as well. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. I
that's
mean,
true.
they did not do themselves proud. They didn't carry themselves like reigning World Cup champions. The fact that they carried themselves really real bitter losers, and they showed really poor sportsmanship yesterday, and it was not nice to see because. In the last World Cup, a lot of people were rooting for Argentina because a lot of people do like Messi, and they were saying, it'd be nice for Messi to finish with a World Cup. But I think even hardcore Messi fans, a lot of them saw what Argentina had become this World Cup, and that is a really dirty team that have had some games go massively in their favor. So I think a lot of people they were happy to not see Argentina win yesterday, and the way that they carried themselves at the end really, really, really poor. I mean, from the top down, the captain, Messi, the management, they weren't stopping their players from fighting as well. You saw some
Mm.
Argentina players, including Paredes, literally bully people onto the ground. They did not take it well, and it was really, really not a good look from their perspective. But let's speak about the football in itself. Do you think Argentina were poor yesterday, or was it Spain that made them look poor?
I think it's both. Um, Based on previous games where Argentina maybe, where they were getting dominated, like for example against Egypt. Egypt were 2-0 up. I know the goal got ruled out, but up until that point, Egypt they weren't dominating. Like Argentina had the stats, but they were the more dangerous team. Argentina had the ball, but they weren't doing anything with it. And they pulled through. They showed their quality with Messi turning up, and the same against England, same with Cape Verde. In this game, I do think they bottled it. They didn't even turn up. I have no idea what happened. Like Spain, obviously tactically amazing. They kept the ball, which in my opinion, I think that's the best way to ensure that the best way to just solidify your defense is to take the ball away from the opponent. But let's not pretend that Argentina didn't have the quality or the tactics from the manager, like the tactical ability from the manager to have an impact on the game, which they do. It's just shocking. And Messi, I think in the dying minutes of extra time in the second half of extra time, he was trying to do something, but and they did have Spain pinned. But I mean, look, you need to against a top team, you need to put that pressure for a good 20, 25, 30 minutes in the game to get one goal. They only did that for like 5 minutes, 8 minutes or something like that. And Messi, I mean, I think a lot of people were hoping that he would turn up, and he generally, like, he did have a stinker, but the whole team did. Coming back to what you said before, which is in terms of, like, you'd love to have Argentina players on your team. I disagree. I think you want their brotherhood, you want their like teammateship, how they stick together, and ride or die mentality. But you don't want their behavior. You don't want the way that they
Mm.
approach the game.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
It's really ugly. It's really ugly to see. Messi's brilliance kind of overshadowed it, but today he didn't. Yesterday he didn't turn up, and it was clear to the world, like, this is what Argentina is about, really.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I'll say to that. Firstly, I agree with your statement. When I said they're the sort of players you want in your team, I was speaking from the perspective of hard work, pressing, getting the ball back. You could see the passion in the way that they play. They're really hungry to win, which you'd love to see. But I agree the way that the dirtiness in which they play with the aggressiveness in one way it can be good, but the way that when it becomes unsportsmanlike, like it was yesterday, that's not what you want to see. Regarding Messi's performance and Argentina's performance, in a way, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, this whole World Cup, Argentina, it's been their fight that has got them back into the games. But if you look at every single knockout game, they were on the back foot for many of them. We look at the performance in all of the knockout games, and even against England. England were the better team. England were the better team for an hour. Messi was nowhere to be seen for the first hour. But as soon as England gave Argentina the space, the time, let them have the ball, that is when they flourished, and that's when Messi took Argentina over the line. But yesterday, with a team like Spain, Spain are not going to give the ball to Argentina. They're not going to be defensive. They're the best in the world at keeping possession. So it's not a surprise to me that Messi had a really, really quiet game. It's because he didn't get the ball. It's not like he got the ball and he was losing it a lot. He just wasn't getting the ball because Spain were that good in possession. So 65%. Let me read some of the stats to you. 65% possession, 20 shots taken by Spain, only two taken by Argentina. So that just tells me that there's just levels to the game in terms of even getting the ball. And then 12 shots on target for Spain and zero for Argentina. I think it's
Right.
one of the most one-sided finals I've ever seen, even though the scoreline doesn't suggest it.
Yeah, that I mean, considering that they are the current world champions, Spain is the current Euro champion, and they went like you couldn't on paper you couldn't have asked for a bigger blockbuster really. You know, the current world champions done really well. They got Messi, you know, balling out in the World Cup. But yeah, I mean, I guess you know I am gonna mention one thing, which is I do think Argentina missed Di Maria today. I know that you might think what's he gonna do? He's one player, but he is like equally arguably, if not more clutch than Messi in big games for Argentina. Like he scored in the Copa America, he scored in the World Cup final, got an assist, I think, as well. He always pulls through for Argentina, and not to say that you know they suddenly gain way more possession with Di Maria, but that kind of player, I think they did miss that today, yesterday. But
Hmm.
what do you think about you know Luis da Fuentes? You know, I mean, his CV with Spain, not just the first team, but also I think he won the under 18 Euro and World Cup, and then he went on to win the Nations League, and then he went on to win the Euros. Now he's won a World Cup. It's as if he's like a serial winner. He's just so like, is he on the level with Deschamps now? You know, has he passed that level?
I think on an international level, Didier Deschamps, what he's done, of course, he was on the verge of making three straight World Cup finals. The fact that he won a World Cup, he went back to the final again, nearly won it, and then you look at this World Cup, they were the favourites to win. I think Didier Deschamps' legacy in terms of international success at this moment in time is still higher, but De La Fuente, what he's done so far, as you rightfully said, he looks like it's going to be a dynasty. This Spanish team, it looks like it's going to be a dynasty. We look at the 2008, the Vicente Del Bosque's team, 2008, 2010, 2012, where they won Euro, World Cup, Euro, three in a row. This Spanish team can do the same thing. They just won the Euros. They've now won the
Yeah.
World Cup. They're going to be definite favourites for the next Euros coming up. So they could replicate what some say is the greatest team of all time. They can replicate what they do again. So, I mean, I know you sent me a picture early on today, and you said if you look at the 21st century, the Spanish have dominated the 21st century. I mean, they're the only team to have won two World Cups. They've won three Euros. They've also won a Nations League, and they've had some of the greatest players of all time during that run. So Spain, before this century, were quite a small nation when it came to football, but this century, they are probably the team of this century. So what an incredible turnaround!
Yeah, I saw a statistic that since like 2001, a Spanish team, when they've been in the final for Europa League, World Cup, Euros, Champions League, and they basically have won every single final, 23 out of 23. Obviously, we're excluding the Nations League where they lost against Portugal and you know the Conference League and stuff like that. But I guess it just goes to show how important it is to just win that final game because you know, like a lot of players, they might, you know, they lose finals. It's gonna happen. You're gonna lose final, but the ones that win, it basically excels your career and the way that people look at your CV exponentially compared to like
Mm.
someone who's been in, like for example, if you compare LeBron's been to 10 NBA finals. He's won four, lost six. The way that people look at him compared to Jordan has been 6 out of 6. You know, it's totally different.
Yeah,
And the same with Curry as well. Like Curry, he's got four, right? Am I wrong in saying that?
yeah, he's got four championships. Yeah, Steph
But
Curry.
he hasn't been in 10. I think he's been in five.
No, he's lost. I think he's lost two or three NBA finals. So he lost in 2016, also lost in 2019. So yeah, he's lost two NBA championship finals.
And look at that. I mean, LeBron's been in 10, won
Yeah,
four, lost six. Steph been to six, won four. And I mean, it's probably an obvious thing what I'm saying, but Yeah, do Spain have the potential to, like, well, we were talking, let's go on to the next thing. We were talking yesterday about Rodri and Busquets now. Like, Rodri on paper, you
Yeah,
could argue he was better, he's a better player than Busquets, although anyone who watches football with their eyes would probably argue different. But on paper, which is what everyone is gonna remember Rodri and Busquets for in 50 years' time, they're gonna look at what he achieved on paper, because no one's gonna watch the clips really. Same as we don't
yeah,
watch Pelé clips and even
yeah.
Maradona and stuff like that.
I think there is a genuine case. Like if you were to have the take that Rodri is now the greatest CDM of all time, I think you wouldn't be wrong. If you were to take that take, it's a credible take. You can definitely have that, and you can argue. And I think, as you just said, according to the stats, he's complete football. Let's look at what he's achieved. He's won 4 Premier Leagues in a row, and being one of the most instrumental players in that team. He's won a treble with Manchester City, and he was the best player in that season for Man City. And he was the one that scored the final in the Champions League to give City their first ever Champions League. He's won the Euros as the best player of the tournament. He's won a Ballon d'Or, the only CDM in this era that I can think of that has won the Ballon d'Or, because Busquets was not even close to winning the Ballon d'Or. Rodri's won the Ballon d'Or. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think in this century he is the only CDM. Thinking back at all the CDMs, I can't think of another CDM that's won the Ballon d'Or this
Mateus,
century.
which was in like 1990.
No, I'm saying this century. Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah,
ever.
but the
Um,
last one I can remember was Mateus, 1990, I think, when he won the World Cup on
yeah,
yeah, 99, yeah.
and
Yeah.
and now he's won the World Cup with a golden ball as well. So you look at his legacy, he's achieved everything there is to win in the game, and in all those major trophies, he was the best player. So the World Cup, the Euros, and the Champions League, he was the best player in all three of those trophies. Whereas you look at Busquets, yes, Busquets has won all the team trophies, but he was not the main guy in all those trophies. I mean, you had Xavi and
Yeah.
Iniesta for the Spanish team. You had Messi,
Yeah.
Xavi, and Iniesta for the Barcelona teams. So I think Rodri does more than Busquets did. He's asked of more. He dictates the tempo of the game more than a Busquets would have done. He scores more goals than Busquets as well. He scores more important goals. But I just think for me, in terms of just being a CDM, and that's all you're asked, I would still choose Busquets, me personally.
I mean, I've watched him live. I watched Man City vs PSG in the Champions League a few seasons ago, and I was pitch side, so I got amazing view. It was Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, and then you had obviously Rodri, De Bruyne, and stuff like that. And bear in mind, I didn't know much about Rodri. I think this was like 21 or 22. Like, he wasn't on the scene like he is now, where he won a Champions League, scored a goal, and he got Ballon d'Or. But when I was on the pitch, like, I remember just looking, I was like, he is the best player on the pitch. Like, without hands down. Like, when I watched him, I was like, this guy is the best on the pitch. Better than Messi, better than Neymar, better than Mbappe. A close second would have been Neymar, because Neymar in person is just a different level. And Messi, he was in PSG, he wasn't at his best football, and I mean, he barely even ran, so like, you barely even saw him do anything. But yeah,
Mm.
Rodri easily was the best player on the pitch that day. Then when I watched him, um, let's go, like, let's compare the attributes of Busquets and Rodri and actually come down as to who would we pick individually. We know football wise, okay, me and you agree it's going to be Busquets, but let's, if we break down, for example, physicality, who are you picking between Busquets and Rodri?
So I think this is a little bit of a misleading one because I think, look, if you look at their physiques, Rodri is the bigger guy, and you would say, in a duel, he's probably going to come out on top. But I think in football, even if you are skinny and you've got a small framework or a small frame, it doesn't necessarily mean you're weak. You look at Messi, for example, the guy's tiny, but you can't take him off the ball. I mean, he's so strong, you can't knock him over. So I think physicality wise, I can't remember me watching Busquets' career, him get physically dominated, and neither have I had Rodri. So I mean, to be honest with me, it's neck and neck when it comes to physicality. But if you were to say Rodri, I wouldn't sniff at that. But
But the
I
thing
think
is,
it's
I,
fairly
I
even.
think it's more than just strength. I think it's winning aerial duels, it's jumping, it's aggression. It's all that kind of stuff. And for me personally, I'd probably give that to Rodri. Obviously, he is a bigger guy, so people will naturally go towards that. But he do, from what I've seen, he wins aerial duels. He's a better. He's more aggressive. Busquets was obviously amazing technically, but physically, I think is easily Rodri. Would you agree with
Mm.
that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's hard to look back at someone's career now that they're no longer playing because you kind of have to remember it. But because I have watched a lot of Busquets. I mean, my whole main years watching football were from 2006 onwards. So I did kind of see Busquets' whole career. I wasn't watching him week in week out, but definitely there were probably like 7 or 8 games every season where I've seen Busquets play live. But Busquets, to me, the amazing thing about Busquets is you don't remember him, and that is what is so great about him because he never makes a mistake, and that is Busquets in a nutshell. I mean, he's not a type of player where you'd be like, "Did you see Busquets?" I mean, there's actually a saying about Busquets. It's like if you watch the game, you don't see Busquets, but if you watch Busquets, you see the game. That's a saying that
Yeah.
they say about Busquets, and it's so true. I mean, if your eyes aren't on him, he's not really going to stand out. But if you focus just on him, you're like, this guy. It's like it's impossible to take the ball off him, and that for me is what I remember about Busquets the most. And for me, as a CDM, that is what I value more than anything else in that particular position. As a complete footballer, yeah, you can say Rodri does more because he advances the ball a bit more. He arrives in the box. He progresses the ball perhaps more. Whereas Busquets was surrounded by such amazing players, where all he did was take the ball off the defense. He was under pressure. He would be cool under pressure, make sure he doesn't lose the ball, and then he'd give it to the likes of Xavi and Iniesta, who would then make things happen. So I guess they're kind of different players, but remembering back at their career in terms of physicality, I don't think it was ever a weakness. And if it's not a weakness, that's why for me I'm saying it's neck and neck when it comes to physicality. But if you want to say Rodri, no problem.
Cool. Pace. You're gonna put Rodri in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
probably yeah. But again,
Um,
it's what you're valuing in a
dribbling,
CDM. Yeah,
you're probably gonna go Busquets without a doubt. Um,
yeah, dribbling. I would say Busquets. Yeah, agreed.
so Rodri two, Busquets one. Shooting, say Rodri
Yeah, it's going to be Rodri in it because you never
three
really
one.
saw Busquets shoot. Yeah,
Passing
I would say
overall,
Busquets. Busquets, definitely.
I guess it depends how you judge it because versatility wise, I've seen more like Rodri doing more range of passing than Busquets, but I mean, I was too young to think about to be watching Busquets game like the way I watch Rodri's now. So yeah, okay, let's say Busquets. I bet I do think Rodri is better at long passing. He's better at like 1-2s in an attacking area. But, Busquets was more, for example, in zone half or up like near the halfway line in the opposition half.
I mean, you can
Defending.
argue Rodri. I mean, look at this World Cup. He broke the record for the most passes ever completed by a player in a single World Cup. And you look at his passing map this World Cup. He hardly ever done a misplaced pass, and he passed all over the pitch. So Rodri is a phenomenal passer. But I just think those teams that Busquets played under, the Spanish team and the Barcelona team, they were renowned for their passing. And for me, the players that excelled the most in those teams were Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. I mean, that core, the greatest midfield in the history of football, in my opinion.
Mm. Okay, so would you say Rodri or Busquets for passing?
I would say Busquets. I would say Busquets. Yeah.
Cool. So that's 3-2. Did defending?
Again, it's a close one for me, man. It's a close one. I can't call it. I'll be honest with you because yeah, I mean that Spanish team, that '08, 2010, 2012, that Spanish team, they just didn't concede either. I mean, this current Spanish team also don't concede, but neither did that team. I think when they won, they didn't even concede one knockout goal. That dynasty, I'd have to check the stats from
I
'08,
think you're right. I think
2010.
they conceded one in the group stage. But this Spanish team, they've conceded the least amount of goals in a World Cup winning campaign, one,
They
which
have.
is crazy. But I'm talking about overall, not just Spain. I think Barcelona and then Rodri with City and
Yeah,
Atletico
I would
Madrid and all that.
honestly, me personally, I'd call it neck and neck because I just think they're just so elite, man. I mean, nobody gets past them, both of them. So I'd call it neck and neck for defending, personally.
I think it's Rodri, but cool. We'll say that's 3-3. So I mean, yeah, it's balanced. I guess it depends. I think Rodri's still right. He's right in his career still. He's not hasn't retired, so let's see where he ends up. I think he'd have to do. He's still got another Euros to win to match Busquets anyway, and a couple more Champions Leagues. So
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly, I think this one comes down to preference, and you got to remember, he's only 30 years old, so he's probably got another five or 6 years in him. If he gets another Champions League, he gets another Euros. he could end up as the greatest CDM of all time if he's not already. I think, like we
I'll be
said,
honest,
on
I think he's
paper,
got 10 years in. I think he's got 10 years because CDMs, like, they can play till their old age anyway because they barely run and because of their position. And then once
yeah.
they lose their legs, they just drop into centre back and they can do their job there. So I think he's got another
Let's
10
see.
years easy.
I mean, let's see how his knee holds up. Obviously, he did have an ACL tear just here, and he has come back now. And I was watching a Guardiola video today on Instagram, and Guardiola in the middle of last season, he said, "Rodri's still coming back. Don't worry, that level's going to be there." And he was like, "Watch him in the World Cup." He said this. Guardiola said this early on in the
Wow.
season. He goes, "Rodri will be back at his best in the World Cup." What a prediction from Guardiola, and to be honest, it's not surprising. The greatest manager of all time. But yeah, man, honestly, Rodri,
This
I
program will
can't
continue
speak
after
enough
the
about him.
break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وبسم الله قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. That the best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it.
Had an accident, a bump, trip or fall? Then you need Claims Specialists, your first choice for accident claims. The specialist claims company on Dunstable Road in Luton. With excellent access to expert solicitors and on a no-win, no-fee basis, Claims Specialists use their 30 years experience to help get you the best compensation possible. For injuries at work, taxi, PCO and private hire incidents, road accidents and vehicle damage, medical negligence, plus rented housing disrepair. In short, when you need to make any claim, click on claimspecialists.co.uk or call 01582 733 222.
AK Windows South Limited, manufacturers and installers of high-quality UPVC windows and doors, bifold doors, composite doors, conservatories, porches, skypods, fascias, guttering, and much, much more. We specialize in double glazing and triple glazing using the best German profile. If you want quality at affordable prices, AK Windows is the place to go. If your house needs a facelift, you know who to trust. For a free quote, call AK Windows today on 01582 483 777 or visit us at Unit 10E, Britannia Estate, Leagrave Road, Luton.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Inspire FM Summer Tips. Let's have a productive summer break. Make it a habit to pray your voluntary sunnah prayers at home, following the Prophet's tradition to bring light, peace and blessings into your living space. Thanks for tuning in and keep listening for more, only on Inspire FM.
Enjoy quality and tasty 100% authentic halal Chinese and Thai food from Gao Express, brought to you by the team behind Tops Pizza in Luton. Choose from all your delicious Chinese and Thai favourites. Then order for delivery or collection from Gao Express in Wellington Street, Luton, Marketplace, Stevenage, and now also on Nightingale Road in Hitchin. Open daily midday till late. Find the number or order online at Gao, that's GAO, express.co.uk, or like Gao Express on Facebook.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम किरण है। कोट कश्मीर ऑर्फन्स रिलीफ ट्रस्ट मेरा एक खूबसूरत घर है जहां मेरे साथ सैकड़ों यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चों की तालीम व तरबियत और पुरसुकून माहौल में परवरिश हो रही है और ये सब कुछ आपके तावन से मुमकिन है। अल्लाह से दुआ है कि अल्लाह करीम आपको सदा सलामत रखे और उम्मीद है कि आप इसी तरह अपना प्यार, मोहब्बत और तावन जारी रखेंगे। कोट UK ऑफिस 0300123774 court.org.uk।
Richard didn't want to die, but he couldn't stop himself. The collision didn't kill him, but he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so he hit the inside of the car. That didn't kill him either, but his internal organs carried on travelling until they hit his rib cage, and his lungs were punctured, and the main artery from his heart was torn. And that's what killed Richard.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 7:30.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Sportscast. We are live today, and we are discussing, before the break, we were discussing the World Cup 2026, reflecting on the final itself. And now, in this second half, we're going to be reflecting on the World Cup 2026 overall and some of our thoughts in the World Cup. So, if you are listening to us, we are live today. So, if you have any questions, you want to engage or interact with us, do message us and we will respond to your comments. And if you can call, if our staff inside the studio can answer our calls for us, we are open to calls as well, so you can engage with us. So, we are back now on the second half. For the next 20-25 minutes, we'll be speaking more about the final itself and also just overall in the World Cup. So, Haroon, I wanted to speak about the third place match as well. But just before we do, I just wanted to break down a couple of the things that happened in the final. I mean, you had the rash challenge, which resulted in the second yellow card, and then we had the Ferran Torres goal as well. So I just wanted to ask you what you thought of the red card and the actual goal itself.
Yeah, I mean, it was well deserved. He should have been sent off way early in the tournament. So should most of Argentina's players, in my opinion. Paredes should have been sent off about 20 million times after the game. I mean, in my opinion, he should be banned from football. Like him and the other players who were punching and strangling the Spanish players who were celebrating the win for no reason. Like they just, I watched the video. I'm trying to see what the Spanish players did, and I couldn't see anything.
Yes.
There was one where someone was running past Paredes, and he just swings at him and punches his chest. Like they should be banned for like a year. Terrible behavior, not a good example for children. Imagine there's 80,000 people in the stadium looking at that. Just, I mean, we didn't even mention that when Spain was celebrating the World Cup, the whole Argentina team just turned their backs on the trophy lift, which is just, it's not good sportsmanship, really. I think someone else, I think Simeone, I think he was very lucky. Coming onto the goal as well, I don't know if you've seen, but Ferran Torres actually, the reason why he scored the goal was because Simeone, instead of tracking Ferran Torres' run, he pulled his socks up, which allowed Ferran Torres to go run into the box and get that actually quite a good finish when you think about it. It's like, it was a left foot, it hits it high into the net. But yeah, are you still here? I can't hear you.
I am still here. Can you hear me?
I can, but your video is gone.
Yeah, I was just checking. It's funny. I'm in the cabin in the back of my house, and my niece has locked me in, so I'm stuck here. So I was just having a look at the door. So after the show, I'm gonna have to try getting out of here again. I am running low on my battery percentage, unfortunately. So that's why I was trying to quickly see if I could charge my phone, but unfortunately, I'm locked in. So bit of comedic error there. So let's speak about the third place match. So third place match, one of the most entertaining.
Before we do that, can we talk about the disallowed goal for Spain? Did you think it should have been disallowed?
No, I don't think it should have been disallowed. I think it was way too soft. At the beginning, I thought it wasn't even a foul, and so I was like, "What the hell's going on there?" Then I saw the replay, and he did stand on the player. I can't remember who it was that stood on the player. So he did stand on the foot.
It was Marino.
So that's the reason why they. Yeah, Marino. Yeah, he stood on the defender's foot, and that's the reason why they disallowed it. But for me, it was too soft. I don't think you disallow a goal in a World Cup final. Like that.
If you look at it, right, he stands on Otamendi's left foot, like ever so slightly with the heel of his boot. Yeah, Otamendi goes down holding his right leg. I can't believe the goal was disallowed and there was no on-screen VAR review. It's just shocking. Do you know what? Yeah,
I'll be honest with you though. You know, even if it went to VAR, even if it went to VAR, I still think they would have not. They would have had it made it a disallowed goal. I don't think it would have been overturned because once
it's Argentina, bro. It's Argentina.
No. I think the nature of VAR. When you made an on-field decision, they will only overturn it if it's clear and obvious error from the referee. So I think there was enough grounds there to disallow the goal, but I don't think it should have been disallowed in the first place because ultimately I just think it was too soft. So I think that goal should have stood. I mean, ultimately, look, there were too many things going in favor of Argentina, and that's one of the reasons why everybody was supporting Spain. So I think football won in the end. The better team won. Well-deserved champions. I mean, we spoke about the stats. If Argentina won, I mean, there would have been outrage in the world today. But thankfully, justice was served. The right team won. The better team won, and Spain came out champions. So I wanted to speak about the third place match as well, man. I mean, what a match! 10 goals. I don't think I've ever seen that in a World Cup game before. 6-4 scoreline. It just looked fake. What were your thoughts on that game?
I'll be honest, I was in Italy at the time and I watched like the first half on my phone before, and then my flight set off. So I watched like England completely dominating. They played amazing. Rice with an absolute crisp finish into the far post outside the box, and then Saka with I think he scored 2 goals in the first half, I believe, and I think Konza got a header as well. And I was like, you know what, this is surprising. France are a really clinical, amazing team. What like during the tournament, everyone thought France were easily going to win, and then England come and just completely. Tuchel makes so many changes in the starting 11 and completely dismantle France. And then when I landed, the first thing I did was check the score, and I was like 6-4. Like I was like, oh, I can't believe I just missed an all-time a game. The like literally everyone on the plane was like they looked at the phone at the same time when we landed. They're like 6-4, and everyone's going. I was like, yeah, 6-4. Like, crazy. What a game, man! What a game.
Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I was at an event, so I didn't get to see the match as well. So I only watched the highlights after. But I was looking at the score and I saw 4-0, and I was like, what? 4-0 England against France? Oh, this is crazy. And then I switched off for a minute, and then I looked back at the score again and it was 4-3. And then I was reading the commentary on BBC Sport, and all I'm seeing is Elise missed, should have been 4-all. Elise missed again, France should be up here. There's no way France are going to lose this game now. And then at the end 6-4, and then I looked at the highlights, and then it's just, what a crazy game. But I think, to be honest with you, we only saw a game like that because there were no chips on the line. It's a third place
Yeah.
game. I think both teams didn't really take it seriously. There's no way we would have got a 6-4 game if this match actually counted for something. But then Bellingham again, gave up the penalty for Saka to get the hat trick. So brilliant bit of sportsmanship there. And then he scores a wonderful goal, man. And for me, he's in with a shout for player of the tournament, man.
I think like arguably he's probably one of the better goals in the tournament. He's going against, I think it was Saliba. And was it Saliba? I think it was Saliba. And then he does the step over, goes to his left, fake shot, cuts inside, and he's like really calm, composed, brilliant finish. Really happy for him, man. I'm glad he leveled Haaland with 7 goals, and he got the most goals for an English midfielder in their history. I'm really like this World Cup has just shown exactly what Bellingham's made up, and I hope he keeps it up for England because Euro 2028 we have to win. We have to win. I know it's going to be tough because
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?